Hi, Jonathan. Welcome. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining me today. To start things off, can you share a little bit about yourself and your carnivore journey? Can you tell me how it all started?
Yeah, thank you so much, Joseph, for inviting me on here. It's great to be here with you. And I guess we're gonna have to go a little bit back in my story, I guess, to because always when I was all the way from when I was little, like younger, uh, I always struggled with my confidence, right? I was self-conscious. I like struggled with talking to people, making friends, that sort of thing, right? I didn't really know how to socialize properly. I had a lot of anger in me as well in school. Especially, it kind of came out, especially when attention was directed at me. So I think it came more from like an anxiety point of view, right? I didn't know what to do with the pressure. I couldn't handle it. And yeah, as I kept getting older as well, I also started growing in size. I started becoming the fat kid in class as well, in addition to being the shy kid. So that definitely didn't help with the confidence and all that. It just got worse, right? And yeah, as I got into my teens and all that, I started having really bad issues with anxiety, and which eventually developed into depression. And I always had really bad gut issues, even when my mom's told me that when I was a little kid, like or a baby, I was still wearing diapers. They always had to worry when they were gonna change it because sometimes they had to like hold my legs up to try and help me push things out the other end. And sometimes she's told me I actually spray painted the walls brown. So that's, yeah, it started pretty early with gut issues, right? And yeah, that just kept getting worse. I like sat on the toilet for hours every day, just trying to, like, I was so constipated I couldn't get stuff out, but I really needed to, uh, and frequent urination, that sort of thing. And my mental issues just, yeah, they kept piling up, and all that. My gut issues as well. I had really bad acne and stuff all the time. And yeah, it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then in when we get to the year 2023, I decided for myself I'm going to try to lose some weight, right? Because at this point I'm thinking like, oh, if I get that six pack, everything, all my issues are going to be fixed, right? That's like the mentality I had at the time. And yeah, so I started doing the whole calorie counting thing. So, and at this point, right, I was actually not even eating a processed food. I was only eating whole foods, but it was, of course, a lot of vegetables because they're low calorie and you can fill up your stomach, right? The volume eating kind of thing, where your idea of being full is being bloated and feeling awful, having pain, right? And yeah, so it was a lot of lean protein, things like Greek yogurt, chicken, uh, a lot of vegetables, fruit, and that sort of thing. It was pretty much what I was eating. So like a healthy, balanced diet, I guess. Almost pretty much like following the guidelines or the food pyramid, something like that. Uh, but while doing like the calorie counting thing. And I'll be honest, like in the short term of doing that, I actually started feeling quite a bit better. I did. I started like getting leaner, like being more happy with how I looked. I started actually having more confidence and that. But after, like, eventually, after some months, it actually started turning for the worse. My mental issues, my gut issues, and all that, it started getting worse than it ever had before. I was at a point where I actually, like, I walked around every day just stuck in my own head, right? I isolated myself from people, even my family, pretty much. I like I even had hallucinations during the day, like in the daytime, and I kind of started uh, creating like a fictional world almost in my own head where I like lived instead of the real world because the real world was too much for me to handle. So I created something I wanted uh, life to be instead, right? Inside of my own head and just live there, like completely disconnected from everything around me. And like created an alternate character for myself and everyone around me, all that, right? It's very, I hope that makes sense. It's a very strange thing. I guess a lot of without having a diagnosis, right? But I guess a lot of my symptoms sort of go hand in hand with like schizophrenia, that sort of condition, right? And I even had sleep paralysis, where you like wake up at night and you're completely locked to your bed, you can't move. And then I saw like dark figures coming over me while I'm in my bed, and like I feel like they're after me, that sort of thing. And yeah, my mental state, other than that, at this point was actually so bad that I actually didn't want to be here anymore. Uh, I always I've figured out I have to be a little vague with how I formulate it because some algorithms and stuff don't like it, but you get my point, right? I went to sleep every day hoping I wouldn't wake up the next day, pretty much. Um, so yeah, it was really, really bad. Even though I'm at this point doing the right thing in my own mind, right? This is all still happening. And yeah, also this calorie counting thing, it for me, it almost like became like an addiction in itself, right? Where uh, if I were went to a doctor, I never went to anyone or talked to anyone about my problems. I just kept it to myself. And I would guess if I went to a doctor with it, I would probably be diagnosed with anorexia. Like I was afraid of just gaining a gram of weight, right? I was so afraid of it. And I had this body dysmorphia, right? Even though I was actually really lean and stuff, I thought I was fatter than I was. And I just kept going because you can always get better, right? And I actually ended up being very malnourished, very like frail looking, really, but I didn't even see it at the time. I see it in pictures now, but I thought I wasn't good enough at the like back then. So this is over 2 years ago now, in 2023. But then actually, uh, in late August, late summer that year, that same year, I had one day I had like the absolute worst IBS attack or like flare up of my IBS gut issues that I'd ever had in my life. I was so bloated, like I'd never experienced it before. The pain was unbearable. I looked like a pregnant woman, like a pregnant woman. Um, and I don't even think I slept pretty much for like 2 days. I just laid there like trying to find a position where it, like the pain is a little more bearable, but then it's like 2 seconds and I have to find a new position. And then, yeah, so I just, and tried to even like make myself puke, but it didn't help, or I couldn't make myself do it. But this moment with this whole flare up, that's my, like my absolute rock bottom moment in my life, the worst moment I've ever had. Of course, my mental, yeah, all that stuff was also really, really bad. I was on the edge, okay? And, but I think just some instinctual thing in me just kicked in, and I just thought to myself, right, I can't, like, I can't keep living like I am right now. This is not working. And I have to make drastic changes. Uh, And because I think like even though I always had those mental issues, I think I, in the back of my head, I always had this thought that I wanted to know what feeling happy was. I wanted to know what that was, but I just didn't know it. I couldn't feel it. It's not like I could just try harder or something like that. That kind of feeling for me didn't really exist. I had no idea, but I always wanted to know what that was like, right? I wanted uh, to want to live, if that makes sense. So yeah, this was my turning point then when this big flare up happened. I think that happens with a lot of us who end up here on the carnivore diet, right? That we don't really make any big changes like this until we hit like a rock bottom moment where we're pretty much forced to make a huge change, right? And yeah, so the first thing I thought about was, is there something I ate this day that this happened that like I hadn't had in a while? And I came to the conclusion that I actually had an apple that day. And I hadn't had that in a long while. And I know my mom's allergic to apples. And I thought maybe I'm allergic to it and I just didn't know, or something like that. Or maybe you can develop an allergy to it eventually. I don't know. So I tried a little piece of apple a few days later and it all came back, right? So from this point on, I just really started connecting the dots and realizing how much what I'm putting into my mouth, eating, swallowing, how much that actually affects me. I mean, you'd think that was a little more logical that it would affect you, but I think we're all, yeah, so disconnected from that, really. Or not us anymore, but before this. Um, but yeah, so I just started like a period of experimenting with my diet just on my own, just really trying to stay in tune with my body, listening to the signals I'm getting from it. It's from what I remember, right? All this whole period, right? I'm just trying to kind of recall what I can remember, but my mind obviously wasn't working properly, so all of it is kind of a blur. But I'm trying to like recall it. And to me, I think I remember like probably about 2 months. I was experimenting with my diet, like eliminating things, trying to reintroduce them, just trying to uh, follow the signals my body's giving me, like listen to how I'm reacting to certain foods. And keep in mind, at this point, I've never even heard of this crazy all meat diet thing, the carnivore diet. I've never heard of it. I was actually staying off of social media because that was too much for me to handle as well, right? I like with the anxiety and all that, it just made it all worse. And I was even like, I hated seeing other people being happy. I don't know. I hated seeing that, and I thought they were fake. I thought they were just making it up just to have friends or whatever. Um, but yeah, so I had no idea this carnivore diet thing even existed. I was just listening to my body. It's almost like, I don't know how to explain it, like some primal instincts just kicked in, right? Just, and I decided to just surrender to them. I need to listen to it. Uh, so during this 2 month period, I just naturally kind of notice every time I'm cutting out or trying to reintroduce a vegetable, a fruit, something like that. That's where the symptoms are at, right? When I eliminate them, I start feeling better. When I try to put them back in, I get the symptoms again. So eventually I get less and less and less and less plants. No more broccoli, right? No more carrots, no more apples, no more bananas. Um, and one day in October, I'm sitting there just with a plate of probably some ground beef, some eggs, some butter. Yeah, my family at this point actually during this year had already transitioned over to using real butter instead of like margarine, seed oils and stuff, because my brother's also like he's pretty like health conscious and made my family switch over. So I was already using uh, real butter, no seed oils during this whole thing. And then with this meal, I also had an avocado. So that's the last plant I have in my diet. And when I sit down to have this meal, like I'm enjoying it, right? But for some reason, when I go to have like a piece of this avocado, I just put it in my mouth and like just get this visceral like reaction to it where I'm just like, oh, this is disgusting. Like to me, it tasted like just I'm putting poison into my body. It tasted absolutely horrible, and I just decided I have to just throw it out, right? Put it in the trash and spit out the piece because I mean at this point I've already surrendered to all the signals my body's giving me. I just know I have to just follow it. It's working so far, right? I'm already feeling a lot better. So I did that. And yeah, at that point, I only had meat, fish, eggs, and butter left in my diet. And yeah, on what I remember as day 3 of me doing this, like having no plants left, or I did have coffee in at this point. I don't have it anymore, but I did then. Uh, but on day 3, I just remember waking up and I'm like, zoom, just like, I don't know, some hypercharged battery inside of me that just, I just light up. I'm so awake the second I wake up. I've like had a great night of sleep for the first time in forever. I just, I'm actually happy. Finally, right? And it's out of nowhere, right? All these thoughts, bad thoughts, and all these, yeah, things, and even my gut issues, right? It was just gone, completely gone, no more of it. And I had so much energy. I remember I just had to do something. I couldn't sit still. So what I did is I just went outside and I think I walked for hours on end that day. I just had to do something. I had been so isolated in my own room at this point, talking to no one, doing nothing, just being depressed. And yeah, suddenly out of nowhere, I just feel alive, right? And yeah, while I was out walking, so this is the same day I actually hear about this carnivore diet thing existing, because on my walk, I decide suddenly just, you know what, I want to call my parents. I hadn't really been in contact with them much either. I had, that's how isolated I was. And yeah, when I call my mom, I just start like telling her like, so I've been experimenting with my diet, right? And yeah, this is what I'm eating now, and I don't understand what's happening to me. Like, what is this? And she actually starts telling me, because she goes to uh, Pilates, and she starts telling me that a lot of people in that community actually do this sort of diet. She's already heard of it in there, like keto, low carb, even carnivore. And then she also tells me she's seen people on social media talking about it and all that. And so I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I have to check out what they're talking about, you know? Because I mean, I've also heard all these things, right? That you need carbs for your brain, that you need fiber for your gut health, all these things that we've all heard growing up. I guess I didn't really need the same sort of justification, I guess, seeing as how I came into it, but I still probably had the questions at the back of in the back of my mind, like, can I keep doing this long term? Is this something I can keep doing? Is it sustainable? Is it safe? Right? Even though I felt so amazing, right? So I started looking into it, listening to, people like Anthony Chafee, you have Ken Berry, Bart Kay, you have Richard Smith, Stephen Thomas, that sort of those sort of people. And I just started learning, right, and looking into it myself as well, right. I don't want to just take someone's word for something that can be dangerous business, right. So I also went and took like biology and chemistry classes actually, and physics, and started learning like the basics, getting the foundation of all of it. Of course, there's a bunch of nonsense in those school books, but but I was able to actually pick that stuff out. What was kind of yeah what I knew wasn't entirely true or not. And yeah, so I just started learning why this works, how it works. Can I even keep doing this? Yeah, of course, because it's always worked. This is because that's what I realized eventually, right? That the reason why this works is because I'm human. It's because I'm human. I'm built to eat this way. This is what we're all supposed to be eating. So it's not even a surprise to me anymore why it works. It just makes sense. It makes sense.
That is, I honestly don't have like a word to describe your whole experience. I just feel like it's beyond impressive the way you discovered it because how old are you? I'm sorry.
I'm 24 now. Yeah.
24. Yeah. So I feel like discovering carnivore at such a young age. I feel like most people don't figure out carnivore until maybe they're older. But it's just my assumption. But I guess you've already like saved yourself years of trial and error, and you got a great head start. I just think it's like beyond impressive what you're doing, like following your body signal and just like starting so like way ahead of others, like other carnivore people. So that's seriously awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I see that a lot as well. That first of all, thanks, I appreciate that. And yeah, I can't really describe. I mean, why I like the things that happened. I mean, but yeah, I definitely see the same thing. A lot of people, they don't really end up here until they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, right? Because that's when these health issues pile up, the metabolic uh like diseases or whatever, right? That's when they keep piling up. But I guess I was just I got them really early, so that's why I ended up making a huge change. But yeah, I'm so like grateful and happy that I actually ended up here so early. And I just yeah, I don't see any reason why I'd want to go back to anything else. Like I just feel amazing, and I mean now that I know what I know about this, what like why would I want to do anything else? I don't even have the desire to, not even like a blueberry, right? It doesn't even appeal to me. And like when if I go through a supermarket, right, I see all this garbage in there and it doesn't appeal to me. It almost doesn't even register as food, right? It just goes straight past me. It's like, like pretty much just feel bad for the people who put that into their shopping cart. That's it. And yeah, it's a crazy
Yeah.
world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. Like when I go to the grocery store and I look at all the foods, I feel like, okay, this is trash, 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 trash. All right, let's move on to the meat section. So, yeah. But speaking of trial and errors, I know you've been to like a whole journey with the health issues when during your teens. Um, with the mental issues. I think you mentioned like also gut issues, hallucination. Um, Was there like mistakes you did like in the beginning of the carnivore? Like, was it something you how you learned from them, or did you ever had a doubt that it's not working?
First of all, I never had a doubt that it's not working. Yeah, I was convinced from the first second. I mean, I knew how I felt, right? And then when I started learning, I understood pretty quickly why it works, as I said, right? Because it works for every human, because we're supposed to eat this way. And yeah, when it comes to trial and error stuff, it's not like, or not exactly mistakes, but I guess I eventually realized certain things. Like, for example, personally for me, the coffee, right? I, since I have like sort of an addiction, an addictive personality, right? I used to struggle with like nicotine and other things, like even alcohol at some point. And I have a tendency to where it's like if I have coffee, then it's like the next day, just one more cup, and then one more cup, and then one more cup, and then one more, and it starts becoming like an issue, and then maybe there's a little bit of a gut issue, even though it's not as bad as before this, right? Because I have a way better baseline, but yeah. So eventually, I just realized, you know what? I think I need to see how it is dropping the coffee, so I did. And then I ended up like a month later, that first time, I ended up putting it back in. And then eventually it got kind of like bad again. So I ended up cutting it out about a year in. And I haven't had it after that. So, and actually, I mean, it's difficult to quit. The coffee is difficult to quit. But when I actually got to the other side of it, I ended up being pretty amazed at how I actually now have the same buzz that I get from the coffee, like that high, right? I just have the same thing, but all the time instead, instead of having like the kind of ups and downs. So, and also, yeah, actually, this year, I during the summer, a friend of mine called Jenny, who's also like carnivore, she did like a challenge thing on social media for herself, where she tried going only red meat and butter, so cutting out the eggs pretty much then. And I just spontaneously decided I'm gonna jump on it too, just to try as a little challenge. And I didn't think I had any issues. I felt amazing. I thought everything was perfect at this point. But actually, when I cut the eggs out, I started noticing I felt even better. Somehow my digestion was feeling even easier, and my energy was even better. Even my sleep, I felt like got better. Uh, so that was kind of just like a coincidence that I felt like actually my I had less inflammation from cutting them out. So yeah, that was an interesting little experiment. So I don't eat eggs anymore. I decided, oh, whatever. I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm not looking to have variety in my diet. I'm just trying to feel my absolute best all the time. So if I discover a way to just feel even better, I'll do it. Like, I'm the kind of person where I can eat the same just slab of ground beef every single day and I don't care. I don't see food in the same way anymore, and I hear that from pretty much everyone who does this, right? That food, it's not like entertainment or anything. It's just for nourishing my body. It's giving my body the nutrients it needs to thrive. So I don't really care if I don't have the eggs. It doesn't bother me in any way. I just feel better, and I'm happy with that. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I've heard that like from other carnivores as well. They say like, the more they eliminate, the more they get closer to a lion diet. Um it becomes like, just trying to get to that absolute peak, that just to nourish their body and just like feeling better. It's just, it's not about comfort food anymore, just like feeling good after you eat something. Yeah, that's incredible. Um, Looking back at your journey, before you were even a carnivore, adapting to it, like during the health issues, what was your favorite food?
Oh, that's an interesting question. No one's actually asked me that before, I think. Let's see.
Yeah,
Maybe like carbonara or something like that. I really love
carbonara.
that. Yeah, my dad made like a really great one. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think somebody mentioned the same thing. Yeah, I love carbonara too because in the past it was cheesy, but now when I see it, it's just like I don't feel anything. So yeah,
Yeah. It's like, what? I ate that? I ate that?
um, all right. So now that you're a carnivore, what is your favorite food? Like, what is your favorite meat, basically?
Oh, that's actually pretty difficult because we have like uh some unique ones here in Norway as well that I really love. But the problem is they're very lean meats. We have like whale meat, for example. We have reindeer, so they're like, yeah, game meats, but there's not a lot of fat on them, but they really taste amazing. So I don't know if I had to pick one. Oh, probably like lamb. I like lamb. Yeah, I actually prefer lamb over beef. I know that like beef is usually the favorite people have, but I think maybe like it's probably a cultural thing as well, because like all our traditional dishes, pretty much that I've grown up eating here in Norway, they're made with uh, lamb or mutton, like older sheep. So I guess it's just a taste that I've grown getting used to that taste. So I'm like expecting more flavor, like the gamey taste. I hear a lot of Americans, right? They're not typically fans of like the gamey taste, like the grassy, groundy sort of thing. But that's actually exactly what I love about it. So yeah, yeah. I think if I had to say one, probably lamb. Yeah, it's difficult though. It kind of shifts. I also have like a local farmer, like a just a regenerative farmer who just, I mean, the animals are just grazing all year round. That has like goats, which is tastes amazing as well. So yeah, could talk about that all day.
That's awesome. What is your like typical day of the week like? Or maybe yeah, maybe even like every day. How does your eating look like? Do you keep it pretty consistent, or do you get bored, switch things up? Maybe you can walk me through what you usually eat, since I feel like you have a lot of variation or like different option. Like you mentioned reindeer, lamb, beef, whale. So yeah,
uh, yeah. So on Mondays, I usually get my tofu out and No, I'm just kidding.
that's a good
No.
one.
Uh, no, I actually, yeah, as I said, I'm not like someone who really cares that much about variation, right? So I can just eat the same like ground lamb or something every single day. But I mean, it's nice to have some other things too. So I like once in a while having like reindeer or whale, or I have yeah, I mean, whale is seafood, but it's a mammal, it's not a fish. But I really love fish as well, like herring, mackerel, sardines, that sort of thing, shrimp, even crab. I mean, I like that sort of thing too. But most days, I just keep it really simple. I usually eat one meal a day, like a really, really big meal, or sometimes two. Depends on my activity level and that sort of thing. But yeah, so I usually just, most days, I just have ground meat really and eat that, and I'm happy. I just eat and then move on with my day, do whatever I have to do.
Nice. You mentioned before carnivore, you were like keeping yourself isolated. Also, not in contact with your parents and friends. So I'm guessing that was the hardest thing about before carnivore. Now that you're carnivore, what's the hardest thing for you? Like, it could be like social gatherings. Is it travel, cravings? For me, those are the things I'm mentioning. But yeah, for you.
I don't know. In the beginning, it was difficult for me, like the social gatherings. Uh, I actually, there was one case in the beginning where, because I was living in the UK at the moment, now I'm living back home in Norway, but yeah, and my dad actually came to visit me. Uh, he's actually carnivore now too. He's done it for like 20, 21 weeks or something. So, um,
Nice.
but but yeah, he wasn't at the time, and I mean, he was eating just what everyone else does, whatever you can get at a restaurant or takeout place, and then uh, like beer and stuff too. And I was like, I just felt kind of the pressure, even though he wasn't pressuring me. I just like felt like, oh, I'm making it difficult for him and all that. So I didn't say anything, and then I just, yeah, it's just a couple of days. What's the worst thing that can happen? But like just within that first day, I already felt awful. Like the gut issues, it was awful pain. Like my anxiety came right back, and like all my bad thoughts and stuff, it was all back again. So yeah, the social pressure was pretty bad in the beginning. Like I didn't really know what to do and felt like everyone was judging me, and I felt like I always had to explain myself to everyone. But I've just over time, or that's the last time I actually did anything like that. The one and only time, because I just after that happened, I'm like, I don't want this to happen any more, like never again. I just want to feel that way I felt, and never get away from it. So I just kind of, yeah, ended up realizing, you know what, I'm not doing this for anyone other than me. I'm not doing this to like make my mom or dad or brother or aunt or something like that or friend feel better about themselves. I mean, if they think I'm strange, I don't care. If I mean, if they don't support me in eating this way that makes me feel my best and not struggle with all those health issues, if they don't respect that and don't support me in it, like, do they really care about me? I mean, that's the way I see it. It might sound brutal, but I mean, and it's fine. They don't have to understand it. They don't have to understand it. They probably won't. And but I know what it does for me, so I'm just gonna stand my ground. I'm not gonna give in to pressures from others just to satisfy their uh, like whatever they want. Right? I'm doing this for me, and I just realized you don't actually have to explain yourself. Most people are just too busy with their own lives, right? They might have a stressful job, they might have a job interview, they might have issues in their relationship, right? Most people are too preoccupied already with things in their own lives. They don't really care about what's happening with you, right? And but they might ask. I mean, of course, it stands out in the crowd if everyone else has mashed potatoes and carrots and whatever, and then you're sitting there with a steak. But usually, like, if you don't make a big deal out of it, no one's gonna say anything. And if they ask, I'm happy to explain, right? And you can just find easy ways to go around it, like, oh, I'm just trying something new to see if it works for me, or I'm just eating this way because it makes me feel my best, or I mean, you can even go as far as saying I'm allergic to carbohydrates or something like that, right? There are many ways you can go around it if you want, right? But yeah, to me, it's just like, yeah, it's not a big deal. This is how I live my life, and you can live your life how you want. I want you to experience this as well because I think you would have. get get some see some improvements in your life as well. But I'm not gonna sit there and push it down anyone's throat either, right? There's no point in that either. I've learned. I tried a couple of times in the beginning, but people just get mad, and you're kind of just pushing them away from you because you're like all in their stepping on their feet and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, I mean, now over 2 years into this, like I don't really struggle with anything. Like now that I recently traveled to the US from Norway. That was like a 14-hour trip to get over there or something like that. And I just fasted. I just didn't eat. That's fine. I wasn't really hungry. So that's no issue. I didn't need to pack any, and I don't really eat snacks. I just eat my meal and then move on. And yeah, what other things? Are there other, yeah, cravings? No, I don't have cravings. That's not really a thing. Like when I walk into town or something, right? And there's like these stands with like they have like donuts or churros or like burritos, whatever it is. When that smell hits my nose, I like just think it's disgusting. It does like it actually just doesn't even smell good to me anymore. And just it's almost like you can if you're walking past someone and they've eaten seed oil, something with seed oils, you can almost smell the seed oils from their breath. I know it sounds crazy, but I feel like, and I've heard many other people say it as well, that they feel like their sense of smell and taste has actually been amplified. It's almost like that's where it's supposed to be, right? We're hunters. We're supposed to be really good at those things. So I think there are certain switches that go on again when you actually eat the way you're supposed to and not being suppressed by, the seed oils and carbs and plant toxins. I mean, there are many of those. So I hope that
That's
answered
awesome.
your
Yeah.
question.
I think yes, it did. Because yeah, you mentioned the cravings where it's not a problem anymore. I feel like that was just a problem, for most carnivore in the beginning, and then it goes away eventually. Me personally, I think it went away after 1 year. It took a while, but yeah. And biggest one for me was like you mentioned, like social gatherings. You feel like everyone's talking about you, and you just have to say something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I
Um,
get that.
yeah. So have you ever done something like unconventional, like within the carnivore framework? I think I've heard from someone that like they've been eating raw meat. I think to me that's unconventional, but I've tried it. But I guess I'm not used to it. I've never done something like that before. Have you done something unconventional?
Actually, yeah, actually, since you mentioned it, I do mostly eat the meat I eat raw. I do actually, and that's an interesting story as well because it was pretty early on after I started carnivore. I don't know like one day I had like a steak or something. I don't remember what I had, but and I was standing there next to the frying pan, and for some reason I just felt this urge to try it raw. And yeah, I took a bite. I was a little hesitant because I was like, "Is this safe? Right? Can I get like parasites or like get food poisoning or something like that?" But I tried it, and I just almost felt like I had like a rush of nutrients to my head or something like that. And I don't know, I felt amazing. And I actually really enjoyed the taste myself. I know a lot of people don't, but yeah, to me, and I actually felt like my gut, like personally, that I could digest it even better. Uh, I've heard a lot of other people that come from like a background of having gut issues that they actually notice they digest the raw meat better, at least like in the beginning when they're healing. Like right, for example, now that I went to to the US. I mean, I went to some dinners and stuff, and it was cooked, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not that strict on it. Uh, it's not like a cultish thing for me where like or like a rule thing where I have to eat the raw meat. I'm not gonna eat if it's not raw. But yeah, I didn't notice any difference when I had it cooked now, really. I don't know if I would. I have had periods where I did it for longer periods, and then I noticed, for me at least personally, that I felt a little lower. And then when I go back on the raw meat, I feel a little uh, better in my energy and sleep and all that. So yeah, I do that. It's on social media when you put out you're eating raw meat, you get a lot of reactions, people commenting your parasites and all that. But I'm not having any issues. Like to me, it's just I don't think like I don't think people have to eat raw meat. I think we're absolutely adapted to both, to cooked meat or raw meat. So it's just preference or whatever how you feel. And I mean, obviously, uh, looking at our stomach acid, for example, it's pretty obvious. I mean, our stomach acid is at the level of scavenger animals, animals eating like rotten, like flesh, like corpses, like that are rotting on the ground in the desert. Our stomach acid is at that level. So we should be, if we're eating properly, not eating a bunch of fiber and other stuff that's diluting our stomach acid, we should be able to tolerate quite a bit without getting sick, because we should be able to kill off whatever needs to be killed off. That's why we have that low pH. Um, so yeah, to me it makes sense. I'm not really worried about it. I haven't had any issues from it. I've not gotten sick from it, and yeah, I really love it. But as I said, I don't think it's like a thing where everyone has to do it. I've seen like some people who are like, "Oh, if you're not doing raw carnivore, you're that's not real carnivore." I'm not like that. I don't think that way of thinking is particularly helpful, right? And you're
That's
not gonna,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah. I don't think you're gonna
yeah.
like you're gonna have a difficult time convincing someone who's eating a conventional diet and convincing them to jump from that straight on raw meat. So I think if you want to have a strategy of getting them to that, you should probably convince them that they should eat more meat first and then only meat, and then maybe they want to try the raw meat.
I absolutely agree. You're right. It's like a big ship, like, trying to encourage someone. It's like, oh, hey, raw meat. Then, okay. I guess I'll push back for now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned about the parasite thing. I feel like, it's like one of the biggest psyop, like when it comes to carnivore, like, even like back then before I was a carnivore, and then like just eating sashimi or sushi, like I think people normally would say you're gonna get a lot of parasite in your stomach, so you better watch out eating those um, raw fish. So I never paid attention. I still eat them.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty funny, actually. I mean, how, oh, it's completely fine to have steak tartare or like raw fish, like sashimi at a restaurant where it's really expensive, but at home, no, 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 that's dangerous.
exactly,
Interest,
yeah.
yeah, interesting observation, right?
That's so true. Um, if you had to describe the impact of carnivore in your life, what one word would it be and why?
The one word that comes to mind instantly when you ask that is, and it's a great question, um, is freedom. Just freedom, right? Because you're totally free from health issues, or at least I am personally totally free to just live your life the way you're supposed to. And you're finally, it feels like you finally become the person you were almost or always supposed to be. Right now, I'm free to, because I feel so good and never have to worry about like getting stuck on the toilet all day or something like that, or being so depressed that I can't talk to people. Now I have the freedom to live my life the way I want to. Go work towards achieving the things I want. All that, right? And yeah, I'm just completely out of all these systems that are holding so many people back from actually living their life to the fullest. So yeah, freedom is the word.
That's pretty awesome. Um, if you can give like a one piece of advice to someone just starting, or maybe they're having health issues also, like IBS, gut issues, or maybe they're having mental problems, and maybe they want to like self delete themselves. What would you give them?
I would say my best piece of advice is actually it's not like it's nothing like theoretical, like, oh, this little thing works like this or whatever. It's actually as simple as go on the internet and listen to the stories. That's where you're gonna find yourself, right? You hear a story, or you hear many stories of people repeating over and over and over again. You hear the same thing. People get rid of depression, or they get rid of anxiety, they get rid of gut issues, they get rid of whatever it is, like arthritis, skin issues, whatever it is you're struggling with. There's probably someone out there, multiple people that have told their story of healing. And yeah, just go listen to them, because that's where you're going to find hope for yourself. And if it, I mean, just logically, right? If it worked for someone else, it might work for you, right? Why not try it and just commit to, like, I always say, commit to 90 days or even 30 days if that helps. It's nothing in like the scope of your entire life. 30, 90 days, it's absolutely nothing. Anyone can do that. And yeah, just try it. See what it can do for you, for yourself, right? And that's it. And just educate yourself. Like constantly try to learn more, like, right? Question everything that you've been told your entire life. Just go look into all these things yourself. Go learn more. Be curious, right? All the time. You got to be curious. Even now, 2 years into this, I'm still being curious every single day. Like I'm like pretty much every day I'm walking around trying to disprove my own ideas about this, right? But to me, it just seems like the further down I go into this stuff, I'm just more convinced. But yeah, simply put, that's my biggest piece of advice. Go listen to the stories, like on YouTube, wherever you want to go, right? It's amazing what people are healing from. I've heard incredible stories.
That's awesome. Yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. I think it's a great advice. Um, how do you see carnivore as a whole, like evolving in the next 5 to 10 years, maybe, or like, do you see this lifestyle like thriving in the future? Maybe some positive, like more people healing, so working for them, so more people joining in, or versus negative. There's going to be psyops, false information, and maybe censorship, like you know pharma trying to combat like higher beef prices, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely those like efforts to keep it suppressed, right? And try to fight back against it, like the prices or whatever, psyops, whatever you want to call it. Um, but personally, I choose to be hopeful about it, right? I think this movement just keeps growing stronger and stronger, and the community is so tightly connected. Everyone's uh, like getting on here, right? Talking to each other, like exchanging ideas, telling their stories. And I think at some point, I think it's already at that point. It's already at that point, at least from what I'm seeing, where even though, like, no matter how hard whoever it is tries to keep this information away, it's you have so many stories and it's getting so big at this point that I don't think it can be ignored anymore, right? It cannot be ignored. It's just impossible because people keep running into it. I see more and more people pop up on social media talking about their experience, new people trying it, and I think it's gonna keep growing because at some point, I mean, with all these things we've been told for many decades, right? With the cholesterol stuff, the fiber stuff, the food pyramid, the sugar companies buying out studies, all this stuff. I think, and also like pharma doing certain stuff. I think at some point you can only lie for so long until people start seeing through it and people realize, yeah, but I'm doing exactly what you're telling me. It's not working. It's not working. How can your advice be right? It's nothing you're telling me is actually working for me, so it can't be the answer. And then, yeah, what I see is when people end up here, right, in this carnivore community, they end up like almost being forced into questioning everything else as well, right? Like every single piece of our society, um, and these institutions and stuff, you start like questioning absolutely every single part of it. You're almost forced to it because it's like, oh, but I mean, if this isn't true, what else? Like, what else? That this can't be the only thing. And yeah, but yeah, back to your question. I think it's going to keep growing no matter what. At least I'm choosing to be hopeful about it. I can, I mean, it's not really that helpful for me in my personal life to be negative about it. Because, I mean, certain things are out of our control. So we just have to do what we can. And yeah, it's so great to just be out there sharing this message with great people like you, Joseph, and all the other people out there. And just, I mean, there's more like these physical meetups as well happening, like the one I was at in Florida recently. There's more of these popping up, right, where people meet in a room physically. And that's like, I mean, this is great, like talking to each other on the camera, but that's an entirely different experience, like actually being in a room with so many like-minded people. There were even people coming up that were just curious. They weren't even doing this, and then at the end they said, I'm going to go home and start it, right? So it's not just people who are already doing carnivore that show up to these things. They probably, I don't know, see a poster, hear about it, and they're curious. They want to go learn, and then yeah, they discover something new. So I think that there was even a vegan walking around asking questions, not being hostile, just asking questions. So it is incredible, and I'm working on, I want to, because there's no one really that I've seen doing like these meetups and convention stuff here in Norway, and I really want to be like the one who just starts doing it. Because I mean, if I don't start doing this stuff, who else, right? I can't sit here and just wait for someone else to pull the plug. I'm I'm just gonna do it myself then if no one's gonna do it. So no, yeah. So I think it's just probably gonna keep growing, and I mean, yeah, that's what I'm seeing at least. Even though they keep trying, it's pretty obvious that there are huge efforts to keep trying to fight against it. Like just obviously made up stories in like newspapers or social media that are just, it's way too obvious. It's not even real. People changing their opinions suddenly out of nowhere, even though yesterday they were completely fine and loved it. And yeah,
That's awesome. I like your outlook on this, like, very hopeful. I feel the same. I tend to look at it on the positive side. Like, you can't stop this, this whole movement thing with the carnivore, because the truth is, it's just coming out, and everything makes sense, like being the most optimal, like, approach to eating. So yeah, I'm pretty hopeful myself also. Yeah. Just wanted
yeah.
to touch one more question. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and people also just remember, even though I mean it's great if you want to go on social media and share your story, that's really helpful for the movement, right? But remember, you don't even have to be like an influencer or whatever you want to call it to influence people, because you can influence people in your own life. You can make your family change over to this because they just stand up as a great example, and they're probably going to get curious. They want to see what this is for themselves. That's what happened with my own dad. Like about 20 weeks ago, I think it is now. He had seen me thriving on this for almost 2 years, and then was struggling with a lot of health issues himself, like diabetes, psoriasis, like issues with energy, sleep, all this stuff, joint pain, I think, as well, and weight. So eventually, he just, I think it just got to a point where he's like, he's seen me thriving all the time, having no issues on this, and just started asking me questions. Suddenly, he like called me and started sending messages, like asking me, "Oh, how does this work? And how does this work?" And then suddenly, like a week later or something like that, he just started. And then now he's still doing it. And he also says, "I don't even get why I ever ate all that stuff. I don't want any of it."
That's really awesome. I mean, you're setting up a very good example. Like, people around you, and just like, yeah, that's amazing. Um, yeah, I wanted to follow up on one question. What do you think about those carnivore that like adding carbs back? What do you think the whole issue going on with that?
Yeah, I think it's complex issue. I mean, you can get into various depths of it, but personally, I don't think, I mean, there's no requirement for carbohydrates, okay? Maybe in some certain situations where people have such a damaged body, they might need it like during a healing period or something like that. I mean, in case, like, for example, if your HbA axis is so damaged that your body isn't able to signal to produce or like excrete uh, or like get the make its own glucose properly or whatever, right? That can definitely happen. Like oxalates can actually get in there and get in the way and damage stuff. But so like as a tool temporarily or something like that, it can definitely be like a requirement, sort of, right? But it's not because the human body needs it. It's because of previous damage, right? It's not because carnivore doesn't work. It's because of all you've done in the 50 years in your life leading up to that. But in general, right, there's no requirement for carbohydrates. And I think before people, I see a lot of people jump to conclusions very quickly and just assume that they needed carbohydrates to fix certain issues they have. And absolutely, I believe that people may have issues, right? And because that can come up, but I think we have to remember there's not just one carnivore diet that exists. Every single person is doing it differently. I'm doing it differently to you, and the next person's doing it differently, right? My dad's doing it differently. So I think before you jump to the conclusion that you needed carbohydrates to fix your issues, maybe it actually helped you with the symptoms, but again, it's kind of like going to the pharmaceutical companies and getting like a pill that helps you with symptoms, because like carbohydrates can actually be used, or they are a drug, and they can be used as a drug in that sort of setting as well, like as a pharmaceutical pill almost. So yes, it can kind of fix issues, but people are assuming that they couldn't otherwise have fixed their issue by just changing their approach to the carnivore diet, right? Are you including coffee still? Are you including, I mean, obviously like sweeteners? A lot of people, I mean, there's so many like ideas of what carnivore even is. Or how much are you eating every meal? How often are you eating? What are you eating? Right? You might be eating eggs and not being aware it's a problem, like I was, right? Do you have like histamine issues, but you're not aware of it, well, then you're going to have to approach this differently. Um, right? What else? How long have you done it? Right? A lot of people think still they're stuck in this like quick fix mindset, right? Where they think everything's gonna get fixed overnight. But this, like the point of carnivore is it's gonna balance out your entire system, right? It's not like an overnight fix. And you've gone for 30, 40, 50 years maybe and damaged your body. You're not gonna reverse all of that overnight. Even though some people like me, I was fortunate and like I got like pretty much overnight success with it, right? But and on that point, right? For me, how I got into it, that's another point. How did you transition into the diet, right? If you're like jumping into it overnight, like imagine going from vegan to carnivore overnight. How much of a shock to the system don't you think that is? Do you think your body actually knows right away what to do? No, it probably doesn't. So you're probably going to end up having issues, and these issues can stick along for a while, and some of them may even show up later. So there's so many things, and then a lot of people I see, they forget that your health is a holistic thing as well. It's not just the diet. Everything you do in your life actually matters a lot. So the problem can actually be your light environment. Are you being outside enough, getting sunlight, right? Are you sleeping properly? Are you, how are your relationships? That can actually have a bigger effect on your health than some people know. I've heard like a story of someone who had everything locked in to like their sleep, their light, their, yeah, even grounding, right? That's another thing a lot of people get into when they do this. But they had physical pain still, which didn't actually go away until, because they had, during this whole thing of like becoming carnivore and all that, they had isolated themselves from their family and friends. And the physical pain didn't go away until they fixed the relationships. So that's how connected everything in our health is, right? And then you have other chemicals, right? All the other products, right? It's not just the food. It's like even your shampoo, your what you're brushing your teeth with. It can actually matter a lot. Your water, what water are you drinking? So there are so many elements you can actually look at before you can come to the conclusion that carnivore didn't work for me. And also, I think, yeah, in certain situations, I think the intention behind switching around opinions isn't really about health. I think in some situations it's actually about these things, right? It's uh, about their bank account. I think because with some people I see all their views have gone like this. If just keep going down, and then suddenly they switch up and they go up. And so I think there's financial incentives for it, right? You can even, since we talked about psyops and like pharma and all that, people can be paid behind the scenes to say whatever, right? If you give them a high enough sum, you can make people say it and switch around. And maybe they don't have as many coaching clients as they want. So they want to like get more people there. And I mean, you're always going to be more popular if you give people excuses to keep up their bad habits, right? Everyone's probably, or most people are probably still looking for like an excuse to have the carbohydrates, even though we know they're not good for us, right? They always, and if someone comes and gives you good news about that, you actually need it, right? For your long-term health, you're going to get cortisol issues, or you're going to get thyroid issues. Those are common ones, or weight issues. If you don't have carbohydrates, and then you give them good news that, oh, all that stuff's, you're not going to run into those issues, and you will run into those issues if you don't have carbohydrates. You're probably going to be a lot more popular because people want the sugar, and people want the sugar, right? And yeah, I think just keep in mind, there's always some troubleshooting that can be done, right? As I said, there's not just one carnivore diet. what are you doing? Right? What exactly are you doing? And then everything around it. So, yeah. And I think a lot of people just outside of the ones where I don't think it's genuine, I think a lot of people maybe just jump to conclusions too quickly, and maybe what they needed was a community of people that could help them. Because I mean, people have run into these issues and fixed them, right? Maybe someone else knows what you can do to troubleshoot, or maybe even get a coach. That can be very helpful. If you get a coach who actually has a lot of knowledge, that might be what you need.
That's awesome. I feel like your perspective is very insightful. I actually quite absorbed some of them. Well, yeah. Jonathan, if people want to reach out or connect, where's the best place to reach you?
All right. Yeah. First of all, thank you so much for having me on again. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to come tell my story, and it's been a great conversation. I love talking to you about all this stuff. It's such a great passion to have, right? Just helping people find way to real healing and doing it naturally as well. But yeah, if people want to get a hold of me, I'm always happy to answer questions or whatever. I go by, I used to go by Norse Carnivore, but I recently changed it to Ancestral Clarity. And I'm pretty much on all the big social media platforms. I guess the one I'm on the most is Instagram, but I'm on all the big ones. So yeah.
That's excellent. Jonathan, thank you again for joining me today. Pleasure to have you. I really enjoyed listening to your story and learning more about your carnivore journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph.